Hey, I'm Apashe. I make music and I'm in Kiev right now and I'm about to play tonight for you guys. I make a bit of everything. I would say I'm more known to make more kind of like heavy trap music, but I've been making electro, bass house, just bass music in general, but all kind of genres inside of like subgenres inside of bass music. Well, I started making music when I was a kid, so that was like a while ago, but it started getting more serious about 2-3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, more or less, yeah. Yeah, I used to play drums. Well, I was a child, so I wasn't like that good. It's just I started, that was my first instrument, and that's how I started. And then my parents put me in like music theory school, just to have like music knowledge, because everyone in my family was playing other instruments, and it was like important for my parents. And then I just started by myself to play less drum and to actually play more with programs, and that's how I started producing music more with computers, and then I literally stopped playing drum because of that. Yeah, so about 2 years ago I started touring more internationally. Started first with a few gigs in Europe, so I was living in Montreal, Canada, and I went in Europe for some gigs. And then I started playing in the US, and then from there everything got unlocked, I would say, and then I started playing everywhere in Australia, and then more in Europe, and then in Russia, and now in Kiev. Because most of the time on like Mondays and Tuesdays, no one is really throwing shows. But in the last 3 months, I've been on a big tour across the US, and that was like almost every day, because it was 50 dates in 3 months, so that was almost every day, yeah, without really breaks, because you don't even have the time to go back home. You just stayed on the road. You mean my parents? What they think about it? I think my dad really likes what I do. Not necessarily my music. He's not like, he supports me. He says that he likes my music because he wants to support me. I doubt he's actually listening to it, but he just supports me. When he was my age, he was in a funk band and he was making funk music. So he support my music for sure. My mom's too. I just don't think they really listen to it. They just like, they don't really understand how, like, because it's quite heavy, you know, for my parents. But they support me for sure. I just don't see them much at the moment, unfortunately. Because like my dad is living in Belgium, my mom is living in Canada, and it's like, you know, always in between. Well, Notework, I made the basic idea pretty quickly. I would say in a few hours. But then it took some time to actually finish it properly, making it sound like super well, and then recording the voice, you know, recorded Panther and Oralisk, and that took other few hours. A message? Well, I remember I was trying to make new tracks and I didn't really know what to do. Like, because the previous track I did was like Black Gold and Forsaken, and I remember I wanted to have like a heavy track like that, also really trap influenced. And I was just messing around, and then I made that track, and I felt like it was kind of heavy, and I wanted to have Panther rapping on it, so we recorded Panther. And while we recorded Panther, we were just having fun, like literally just having fun and talking about shit, and then we started talking about twerk, and we just found it funny to do something. Since it's kind of a twerk sound, it could be funny to actually say no twerk, so like people are gonna twerk on it anyway, but we can like ask them to not twerk on it, but knowing in our back of the head that anyway people are gonna do it. So we were just like messing around with these vocals, and also because I think it started off just watching videos of like these young white girls in the US twerk, like trying to twerk, you know, and like just failing, you know. So we just found that entire thing like a little bit funny, so that's how it pretty much started. And then we asked literally 2 white little girls that can't twerk to rap on the track, like super gangster, you know. Because like Oralisk, you know, has this like insane rapping vocals that sounds almost gangster, but it's actually Oralisk are like 2 little cute girls, you know. They're not really like gangster at all. So that's the contrast. While you have Panther, which is like way more gangster than they are. So the contrast, Notework was all about like a contrast between what is really gangster, what is totally not gangster, and that's where it's like no twerk, you know. It's like twerk is kind of gangster, but at the same time it's not, you know. But it came kind of natural. That's how I was saying. We were joking, and then while joking, it kind of became concrete. I would say. It depends. Sometimes I'm gonna play more classical DJ sets with CDJs. But what I like to present for big shows is rather a live set where I'm gonna present my own tracks with stems. So it's actually little loops of my tracks. For example, with the bass separate, the drum separate, everything separate. So with the controller, I can actually play the parts differently and play, for example, what I just played was a track I made. I never finished, but I like the track and I think it sounds great in the club. I play that track, and just to make it more hype, I just take a loop from Notework. I put the loop on that track while it's another track, and you know, that way of playing live allows me to just take a loop from another track, put it into another track, and structure and destructure the tracks the way I want live, rather than when you play with CDJs, for example, a more classical type of DJing. You always kind of stuck with the structure of the song. You know, you press play and then you mix it out with another track, but you're not. It's difficult to take a loop from it on like a third or fourth CDJ and then just play it at the right moment to make like the energy fit and shit. It's not. You cannot. You don't have the stems. You don't have the like every instrument separately when you play with CDJs. You would need 8 CDJs to do it, you know. It's a different, totally different way of playing. I know a few guys who do it now. It's starting to become more like a thing, but at the same time, playing with CDJs is still fun. It really depends for gigs. I tend to just keep it for like after parties and stuff like that, or just to have fun when you play with someone else, because like obviously this is a really like lonely kind of way of playing. I mean, you can't play with someone else. It's like it's your set, it's your loops. You're the only one who knows how to play them. Rather than with CDJs, you can just do back-to-backs with other DJs. Just put your USB in and then you can just have fun with other people. I would say for all the young producers out there, just keep making music and try to think outside the box and make cool tracks. Just let yourself go and make sick tracks. Ciao.